Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this block together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive.
Greetings. Welcome to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM radio. I'm doc.PEACE, Doctor of Pharmacy, Transformational Rhythmic Speaker, and Empowerment Guru. Golden Sessions is a time for us to connect and reset with doses of inspiration to empower confidence and foster global unity. Featuring golden STARlings from all over the world who are shining their light so bright to ignite our light and remind us all that together we thrive. Today we have a special guest here with us, Miss Betsy Finkelhoo. Betsy is a beacon of positivity. She's living with intention and kindness as her core values. She's also a personal friend of mine. And as a longtime practitioner of healing arts, primarily in massage therapy and energy healing, she actually lives here local in Encinitas, California. She's a virtual Dharma coach, a facilitator of mindset empowerment. She does breath work, meditation, and self-care, and she's here with us, blessing us with her light. So welcome, Betsy.
Thank you so much, Doc Peace. Feeling that light. So, so bright. So, so grateful to be
Oh,
here.
you
Beautiful.
so very welcome. So tell us, Betsy, what it is that makes you gold. What it is that makes you a genuine, original, loving dreamer, and how do you share these attributes of yours?
I love that question so much. I actually really have been thinking a lot about that lately, especially the time that we're in right now around staying inspired. How do we stay
Yeah.
gold? By staying inspired, right? If we're not inspired, then life becomes dull, life becomes monotonous, right? And that the inspiration is what keeps me living from a place of like seeing the magic of life.
Yes.
And it's important to be able to continue to tend to our own inner environment of inspiration. So, not only just seeking inspiration on the outside, but finding things on the inside to really keep that light bright. So, like you mentioned in my introduction, breath work, meditation, affirmations, dance, movement. And ultimately, for me, what's really of high value is being in service. When we are in service to others and when we're in service to the greater good of all, then that's what really lights me up. I feel so connected. I feel so alive. I feel so aligned. I start to see beauty everywhere. And when I
Mm.
when I feel like my eyes are tracking what's beautiful and witnessing the light in other people, then my light gets brighter. And
Ooh.
so it's a really wonderful practice to continue to fine tune the radar, continue to keep coming back to the inspiration that is really facilitating the gold, the light
Mm.
that is what you're speaking to.
I love that. I love that. I love what you mentioned about finding that inspiration as well as being of service. So, in what ways, in this moment that we're in right now, where we're in a way kind of in our own little isolated bubbles, what are some ways that we can be of service virtually?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a great question. So many different ways. There's a lot of people out there that might feel disconnected. And there's a lot of people out there that might be feeling depressed or, really impacted by the intensity of what's been happening this last year in the pandemic. And so I have found that it's ever more important to really reach out. It can be a little interesting, especially because of making a phone call is not like it used to be, right? Making a phone call back in the day was the only one of the only ways that we could stay connected. Now we can
Mhm.
send text and we can send
Yeah.
emails and we can have these sort of more distant type of connection. And sometimes, like if the phone rings and it's somebody that you haven't talked to in a really long time, what's going to happen? Usually you're going to see this phone number show up and be like, oh my gosh. Like if you called me, we hadn't talked on the phone before. If you called me and I saw your name pop up, oh, oh my gosh, light,
Oh.
inspiration, joy. I would light up, right? So I feel like there's something really magical about being in service by just reaching out and extending, saying, "Hey,
Yes.
I'm right here.
Yes.
I see you. How are you?" I think that that is
Yeah.
the most simple and basic way that's the first thing that comes to my heart and mind when asked that question. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That it's so true what you said. Like seriously, if you were to call me right now, it would be a surprise, but it would also be like a welcome surprise. It's that real connection. It's that real connection that we're seeking. So you're basically putting out and doing that same service or that same connection that you're seeking, but you're putting it out there. You're reaching out your hand. And
Yes.
I think that's so very important to really kind of um, touch on that. So right now we're in this space where we're seeking certain things, right? We're hoping for things to happen. We're hoping for opportunities to come. But what if we actually made those opportunities happen?
Yes. I call that being in co-creation with the universe.
Mm.
right? It's kind of like, this idea of the vision board, right? It's a wonderful practice to create a vision board to help you clarify what it is that you would like to experience in your life. And we can't just sit here and stare at this beautiful pictures all day and wait for, your car to show up, or thousands of dollars to show up, or love. We have to take the action steps in order to be in co-creation with the
Yeah.
universe. We are powerful creators,
Right. I
and we
completely agree. Right. Co-creation is key. You mean to tell me that that mansion that I have on my vision board isn't just gonna like build itself and land in my front yard? Is that not how it
right,
works?
right, exactly. Maybe, but the chances are pretty slim. And I mean, I find that sometimes, even if we get an intuitive pulse to call someone that might pop up in our mind a few different times, I would say almost every single time that I follow that intuitive pulse to reach out and to be in service in that way, that person says, "How did you know that I needed
Wow.
the call? Like,
Wow.
this call really helped me. I was in a hard place." How many times that I have either called someone or they've called me and been like, "Wow, it really means so much to me that you reached out to me today." It is
Yeah.
continuing to really build the connectivity, because we're so separated in our experiences last year. We've had so few hugs. People are feeling maybe not quite as connected, and so the simplicity of sending a message, reaching out, making that phone call, sending a little picture, it really can make someone's day. And to me, that is being in service, and that can
Yes.
help us to stay inspired as well and help others to be inspired. Yeah.
Mm. Love it. Love it. And speaking of this vision board, I don't know if you know, but I have a golden board. I don't have a vision board up in my room. I have a golden board. And I put on all the golden attributes that I love about myself, the things that make me a genuine, original, loving dreamer. Those things that make me authentically me, those things that I love about myself, the things that I love to do. Not just my dreams and my visions, but those things that empower me, empower my confidence to make those dreams a reality. So for those listening, I really highly recommend that you put together a golden board. And if you have a vision board already, you can make it gold. You can make it gold by simply putting more of your authenticity and those original characters, your golden attributes onto that board so that when you look on it, you feel empowered to get it going.
Yes, absolutely. And the way that I do that is a little bit of a different expression, because I use my journal. So
Yes,
my power
tell us about
affirmation
this
journal.
journal.
So this is so similar. There's different spokes to the same center of the wheel, but it's all about self-empowerment, self-inspiration, self-honoring, self-love, self-connection. How do we stay inspired, right? There's so much heaviness in the world that it can be very intense, right? To hold all of that. And so it's really ever more important to continue to polish the inside of ourselves, whether that is through putting it up on your wall and reminding yourself of the magic and the light and the love and the gold that you are, or using a journal like this one.
Yes.
So this I launched last year after like 3 years of holding the vision, the Power Affirmation Journal, and it is basically a tool to help people to get into better relationship with their thoughts, get into a practice of writing their affirmations, their gratitudes, get into a practice of writing a letter to themselves, writing empowering questions. It's really about what I like to consider as like pumping our mindset muscle,
Ooh.
right? We go to the
Say that
gym,
again. Say that again.
we're pumping the mindset muscle. It's like gratitude is a muscle. It is. You consider, some people are incredibly grateful and they're always saying, "Oh, I'm so grateful for this, grateful for that." Some people are like, I can't even access gratitude. It's too difficult." Well, if you're not practicing it, then it gets atrophied. And so the more
Mm.
that we're writing and like trying to fine tune our focus and awareness on things like gratitude or these affirmations, it gets
Mm.
stronger and stronger and stronger. And then we start to just be integrated and embodied as a grateful person.
Oh
And
my
so it is
gosh.
truly like going to the gym, writing down getting it out on paper. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I believe I'm capable. I am worthy. I am worthy. You might not believe it at first, but when you start to practice more and more and more, you start to seek the evidence that it's true, and then the universe starts to show back to you, right?
Wow.
Your shine, your gold, your light.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Pumping that gratitude muscle,
Right.
being grateful for what we have. There's a quote that I remember being said by Miss Rona Bennett from episode 1 of Golden Sessions here on KNSJ 89.1. She said, gratitude turns what we have into enough. And I know it's not easy to be grateful in the moment. You touched on that, but the more we work this muscle, this gratitude muscle, the easier it becomes. And so I see you connecting gratitude with affirmations. Can you explain what the differences between those are and how they connect?
Absolutely. I love this question so much because we actually do a practice in my virtual group, which is another way that I get to serve, is using the journal in a virtual platform where we do it together. And one of the practices that we do is we start with gratitude. So writing a gratitude list and getting used to the practice of fine tuning our focus on what it is that we're grateful for. And then going a little bit deeper into maybe why we're grateful for it, and then transforming that gratitude into an affirmation, which essentially is a statement that can declare who we're choosing to be. So, for example, I could say, "Oh, I'm so grateful for this beautiful orchid." Okay, that's a good start. That's lovely. I'm so grateful for this beautiful orchid because it brings beauty and life into my space. Okay, that's another layer deeper, right? Okay, if I'm going to take that now, turn it into an affirmation to help me remember the truth of who I am and really like fan the flames of who I'm choosing to be, is I see and create beauty wherever I go.
Oh,
I see and create beauty wherever I go. And that's more of like a mantra, a way to be, right? I want to live the beauty way. So I'm going to choose an affirmation that is going to help me remember that on a regular basis. I see and create beauty wherever I go through the
oh,
reflection of gratitude, right? So do that with anything. I'm so grateful for my standing desk. I'm grateful for the standing desk because it makes life easier, right? I am a very systematized and organized person, right? Do you see how there's the
yes.
connection there?
So you're
Slightly different, but it
identifying.
helps you. Uh-huh.
Okay, so you're identifying the characteristics that you appreciate in others or in other things, not just in a body or person. And then you are pulling out those golden attributes. What about that person or that thing makes it genuine, original, loving, dreamer? What is it that you identify and like about that? Then you embody those characteristics. And then you turn those into an affirmation so that you can embody that even further and
Yes.
strengthen that goal within yourself.
Yes.
Oh my
I'll give you a
goodness.
wonderful example. I am so grateful for doc.PEACE. Okay, this is like just baseline, right? I'm so grateful for doc.PEACE. I'm so grateful for doc.PEACE because she shines so brightly and inspires the world to be a better place. Okay, my affirmation is I attract incredible, bright, vibrant people into my life because I am that too. Right? You see, like, oh my
Yes,
God,
I
how
see.
how can we really lean into this? Like the world is really reflecting back to us who we're choosing to be, right?
Yes, yes. And because
So
you attract the energy that you exude. And I love this conversation that we're having right now. And we're gonna have to take a quick break, but we will be right back to really dive into the power of affirmation. So again, you're listening to Golden Sessions with Doc Peace on KNSJ 89.1 FM radio with Miss Betsy Finkelhoo. We're gonna take a quick break and we will be right back. So stay tuned.
Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used a friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you. We are in this flock together for the better, and together we thrive. Together we thrive. Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used a friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections round me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you or I any good? Pardon my mind delay. Sometimes I may need to remind my mind what it's capable of. Jog myself from doubt to a confident state. See, I am not alone, my friend. And neither are you. I see you.
We're back.
We are.
You're listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM. I'm doc.PEACE, and we are here with our guest, Betsy Finkelhoo. So let's get back into it. So Betsy, you shared with us the power of gratitude, the power of affirmations. How did you discover this?
Well, I think I started really doing affirmations at a very young age, but not really realizing that they were affirmations. I had these moments where I would stand in front of the mirror and I would talk to myself and I would say nice things. My sisters, being older than me, they have, like many older siblings, had a tendency to, pick on me a little bit. And it was a little, intense sometimes. And so I somehow intuitively went into my room by myself and would, say nice things to myself in the mirror. And it really helped me at a, preteen, teenage time to give myself those pep talks. And then later in life, I started learning about affirmations through Louise Hay's work, who also her mentor, Florence Scovel Shinn, she was one of the pioneers of bringing affirmations out into the world in the 1920s. And so I started learning more about them. And then I started to use them in my journaling practices. um, really, I had a pretty cool experience of really seeing when social media started to become really popular and more integrated into my life, my journaling practice shifted because I had a tendency to write in my journal about the things that I had been doing and celebrating my weekend or the things I was doing. And then I started to share that online instead. And my posts were reflective upon my experience of life. And so then I didn't feel the need to write down as much in my journal about what I was doing. So my journaling started to shift into more affirmations and insights and considerations. I also took some courses in journaling and really started to learn about the value of prompted writing and reflective writing and morning pages and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've made quite a few shifts, and I love how you you took what you were doing, you shared your stories on social media. Then you were like, okay, now that I'm sharing my stories on social media, I don't need to double share that in my journal. So I'm going to start writing more of what I'm grateful for and my affirmations to really empower me in my journal. And how has doing this helped you thrive?
Massively. It's helped me so much. So I would say the number one is helping me to get in touch with what's bothering me, helping me see where I'm stuck, helping me see what are my limiting beliefs, the nagging thoughts that, keep me playing small or say that I'm not good
Mm.
enough or not worthy or frustrated about life. And then through writing it down and being able to see it on paper, I started to really see that I have an opportunity to change the pattern, to choose something different, and to really reflect upon my empowered choice of thought. And so that's where the inspiration for this journal came. I was doing my own writing around reprogramming and using affirmations as a way to get there. And so it was working for me really well. I started to see my life shift in big ways, in so many different ways, through my relationships, through my work, through my prosperity mindset, um, through my self-love. And so it became very clear that I needed to create a journal for people to have the similar opportunity to transform their own internal dialogue through journaling.
Wow. I love it, love it. And I love how your journey started with when you were young, before you even knew that this was a thing. You were already dialed into it. And it started with you being in the mirror, telling yourself positive things to boost your confidence. Wow.
Can you imagine if all teenage girls and boys, for that matter, these days
Mm-hmm.
were to do that?
Mm.
It would be so, so, so healthy.
That sounds like an exercise that we can actually challenge our listeners to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would love to just presence too to get over the sort of like awkward feelings of doing that or the stigma around that. 'Cause I don't know if you've ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit where he sits in front of the mirror and he says, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me." There's a lot of poking fun at affirmations in the mirror, but it really is a very, very powerful experience when you can really give
I
yourself that
agree.
permission to look directly into your own eyes and tell yourself
Hmm.
wonderful, kind, loving things. It's
Right.
really
Oh,
transformative.
I love it. And there's so much power in that because we want that. We want to receive that, right? We want to be told that we are gold, that we are special, right? But why not tell yourself that?
Right.
Mm.
So often we're
So,
waiting for that reflection from others.
yes, the time is yes, right now, to give ourselves what we long for. And it empowers us to own that, own our unique traits and our authenticity, and then acknowledge that in others that makes them special as well. Because when you feel confident inside yourself, you're no longer looking to tear other people down, but rather you're looking to build others up. And it
Yes.
all begins with that person you see when you look in the mirror.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Hundred
definitely.
thousand million percent.
Wow, Betsy, you are incredible. I want to know your why. What
Mm.
most fuels you to continue to shine your light so bright.
Oh, I love that so much. I feel so filled up from the people that have been in my life that have reflected back to me so much love, so much care, so much kindness, so much
Mm.
generosity. I feel like I have been blessed with an incredible supportive family, supportive community. I feel like every time I receive from my soul sisters, from my real sisters, from the people in my life, I feel so, 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 so filled up. And if I'm feeling that, I want to be able to give that to others as well and help others feel seen, help others feel loved, help feel others like to be reminded of their magic, of their light, of their joy. Because I've received that incredible feeling of what it feels like to be so fully held, seen, celebrated, loved.
Mm.
It's medicine. It
Oh,
truly is medicine. And I time and time again, I will see other people light up through the reflection, right? It goes right back around to what we were speaking to in the first segment around reaching out and just extending, allowing someone else to feel held, to feel checked in,
mm.
to feel seen.
Yes. And honestly, being a doctor of pharmacy by trade, that word medicine, that speaks to me. And this is love medicine. It's the best self medication,
Absolutely.
love.
Yeah.
And can you share with us real briefly what is this light that you are mentioning? I'm throw around the word light all the time as well, but I would love to get your definition of light, being light
Mm,
filled, sharing your light. What is this light?
that's a great question. The first thing that comes up is radiance. It's your inner soul's essence, right? It is when we are connected to our authentic truth. It is of light. You know, my father passed away about 5 years ago, and before he passed, for actually quite a few years before, he started talking about how we're made of stardust, like literally and like scientifically, we're made of the same stuff that stars are made of, right? And so I oftentimes think of that as well, right? It's like we look up into the stars and we see those little sparkling bits of light in this dark sky. And what do? They
They
radiate,
shine.
they shine. They really bring such a presence of joy, right? When there's a clear sky, what do? When we see the stars? It's like, awe.
Mm.
Ah, it's like a breath,
Oh,
right? And so it's the same thing when you meet somebody who is like that bright, gold, radiant expression of their true essence. It's like, wow, right? Ah,
they're
right?
just
We feel
radiant
inspired, we
that
feel
light.
lifted, we feel just
Mm.
like, wow, okay. And so, not to discount the darkness at all by any means, because, those stars would not shine if there was not the dark sky for them to be surrounded
Mm.
by. So it is important to honor our own shadow, honor the darkness, right, that we all go through. And when we can lean into it from a place of, and this is my perspective, of a place of learning and willingness to see what is the growth here, how can I learn from this, how can I lean into this and evolve from it, then there's really some magic that can unfold in our evolution.
Oh, the light shines in the dark and like it just lights up the sky. And I love that imagery that you just gave to us about these stars just lighting up and shining their light even despite the darkness. So they're making the darkness light filled. And how do you feel, Betsy, that how shining your light has impacted what's going on in the world right now? And
Mm,
how would shining our light, sparking that light within us, impact the world in any way?
yeah, I think it empowers other people. I mean, here's a perfect example. You are shining so bright, girlfriend. What you're doing, what you're bringing through with this radio show, the way that you're creating summits and you're empowering people to share their voices in this moment. You are sharing your light. You're allowing yourself to shine, putting yourself out there, and you're inviting me to shine. It is permissioning others to really bring through their own unique expression. It's really powerful. And I feel like we are at a time where we get to have a huge breakthrough, especially from my experience as well with women, of really cutting down the comparison models, cutting down the competition, and really coming back into collaboration and unity and inspiring each other, uplifting each other, inviting each other to shine, right? When I let myself shine, it invites other people to step into their own radiance, right? And if it takes anyone into a dark place of comparison or frustration, then my hope and my prayer, and I hope this can be for others listening as well, my hope and prayer is that that trigger takes you into a deeper place of self-reflection and can empower you into your greatest light, takes you into the darkness, right? Like the light and the shadow. It is like, that's the unity. So
Oh, I love it.
I love
Wow,
this conversation.
flowing. You're flowing.
It's so good. I get chills.
I love this light you are emitting. You are so bright, and I would love to learn how we can connect with you further and become even more empowered to shine the light within us.
Oh, yes. Stay connected. Yes, I'm putting myself out there more and more. Like I had shared, the Power Affirmation Journal has launched this last year, and it's a foundation for what I'm creating more of this in this next evolution of my expression and my journey of why. So poweraffirmation.com is where you can find out more information about the journal, about my work, about the groups that I lead, about my healing work as well. Definitely working to continue to put myself out there more, and you're such an inspiration. So here we grow. I definitely would love to stay in touch with anyone that may be listening that might need a spark of inspiration, a moment to just feel connected. I am so here.
I love that. I love it. I love your light, Betsy. And I look forward to connecting with you further. Do you have any last minute words you would like to share with our listeners? I know that we had talked before we aired about this opportunity that we are in right now to own our uniqueness and not feel disheartened and intimidated to share our creative light, to share our creativeness. So can you share with us more about how we can start tapping into our golden light and really own that and use this opportunity right now to share it with others?
Absolutely. Yes, it is the practices. It is continuing to tend to our own inner dialogue, our own practices of breath as our technology, right? The meditation to create the space within ourselves to listen, right? To continue to move our bodies, to release any stagnation. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. So when we can tap into that power, we can really access such deep, deep reservoirs of wisdom and expression, and our unique soul's imprint can come through. And then, of course, just I'll begin and end everything with gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Pump that gratitude muscle. Keep giving thanks and keep being in your expression of generosity. And on that note, give thanks. All lowercase is a 10% off for your Power Affirmation Journal. So anyone that's listening would love to offer that as a gift as well. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. You are so very welcome. Here we grow. Here we grow. Love that, Betsy. You are listening to Golden Sessions with doc.PEACE on KNSJ 89.1 FM radio. That concludes today's session with Miss Betsy Finkelhoo. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, you are gold. We all are. And together, we thrive. I'm doc.PEACE. Shine on.
Let's do it. Are you my friend? I'll admit, I'm confused. I used to friend request and now I follow. Am I in this alone? I once thought that birds flew solo, each bird on its own, just feathers and bone, relying alone on their wings to soar. Now I see that even though they move independently, they are part of something much greater than what they could be individually. And like a bird, I may sing to my own music and dance to my own drum, but connections ground me, reminding me that I am not alone. My purpose is greater than me, myself, or I. I once believed that whether or not I chose to use my gifts was my prerogative. But does bearing my talents to you